Welcome back. The World Health Organization says the coronavirus outbreak does not yet constitute a pandemic as the death toll from the disease rises to over 400. And that's coming as Hong Kong's Center for Health Protection confirmed the death of its first victim from the disease. Here's Simon Pusey with more on Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. The deadly coronavirus outbreak that has spread from China does not yet constitute a pandemic. That's according to the World Health Organization. That's despite the death toll now rising to 425, with more than 20,000 confirmed cases in 26 nations around the world. Hong Kong has also announced the death of its first national from the disease. A pandemic is defined as the worldwide spread of a new disease. Sylvie Briand, head of World Health Organization's Global Infectious Hazard Preparedness, also stressed the importance of tackling unfounded rumours about the virus.
Currently, we are not in a pandemic. We are at the phase where it's an epidemic with multiple foci, and we will try to extinguish the transmission in each of these foci.
Kenya's former president, Daniel Arap Moi, has died at the age of 95. Mr. Moi was Kenya's longest-serving president. He was in office for 24 years until intense pressure forced him to step down in 2002.
As I relinquish power,
his critics saw him as an authoritarian ruler who oversaw rampant corruption, but his allies credited him for maintaining stability in the country. President Uhuru Kenyatta announced his death, saying the nation had lost a great man, and declared a period of mourning, including the flying of flags at half-mast until a state funeral is held. His son addressed the media and thanked Kenyans for their prayers and support.
Passed away peacefully. I was by his side, and as a family, we've accepted, and mine is just to give my heartfelt gratitude to all Kenyans and non-Kenyans for the prayers and thoughts that have been given to Mzee and to our family.
A High Court has issued a warrant for the arrest of South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma after he missed a scheduled court appearance. Mr. Zuma, who has been charged with a string of crimes including corruption, racketeering and money laundering, was expected at the pre-trial hearing but was not present due to bad health, according to his lawyers. The National Prosecuting Authority argued his sick note was inadmissible because the date on it seemed to have been altered. The warrant will only come into effect if the court determines that Mr. Zuma gave false evidence about his health or he fails to appear in court on the 6th of May.
Without that evidence, this court cannot do anything else but issue a warrant of arrest.
14 children have died after rushing down a staircase at a primary school in western Kenya. At least 39 other pupils at the Kakamega primary school were reported to have been badly hurt in the incident, which took place at the end of classes on Monday. Some students reportedly fell from the 3rd floor of the school block as they ran. The UN envoy to Libya says there is a genuine will to start negotiating between rival military factions as they plan to meet for the first time for talks in Geneva aimed at securing a lasting ceasefire. Fighting has continued on the ground despite a call for a truce by Russia and Turkey and an international summit on Libya in Berlin aimed at reducing international interference. Ghassan Salami told reporters that an arms embargo was also being violated by both sides, but he said there is an agreement that all parties have expressed the will to enter into a lasting ceasefire.
These talks in Geneva are meant to listen carefully to the position of the two sides on what are the conditions for them to accept this translation of a truce into a permanent and lasting ceasefire.
Protests have continued in Iraq, with demonstrators marching against the appointment of the country's new prime minister. There were clashes on the streets of the capital Baghdad between Mohammed Tawfiq Alawi's supporters and protesters. Iraq named Mohammed Tawfiq Alawi their new prime minister on Saturday after 4 months of continued protests. And finally, an artist has been tricking Google Maps into thinking there are traffic jams on empty streets in Germany by dragging a trolley full of mobile phones around with him. Simon Weckert calls himself an artist with a focus on the digital world. He dragged a trolley containing 99 mobile phones down largely empty Berlin streets. It means the artistic performance, as he calls it, turned Google Maps red for traffic jams on streets where there was actually no traffic. Weckert calls his project #Google Maps Hacks. He says it highlights how the mapping service has changed how people interact with what a map is. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks a lot, Simon. We take a look at some sports now. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Many thanks, Ijoma. Women National Basketball Association star Chinenye Ogwumike has traced passion and purpose as one of the main ingredients for her success as a professional player. The Los Angeles Sparks power forward is in Lagos, Nigeria, to mentor over 300 young basketballers as part of her Give Back initiative. The current WNBA Players Association vice president said that as young and aspiring sportsmen and women, there is more to basketball than having the regular skill set. Nigeria's surviving representatives, Enyimba FC, will know their opponents in the quarterfinals of the CAF Confederation Cup when the draws are conducted tomorrow in Cairo, Egypt. The Nigerian champions reached the quarterfinal of the competition for the second time after they edged out FC San Pedro of Côte d'Ivoire in the final group game on Sunday. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed former Super Eagles forward Daniel Amokachi as Nigeria's football ambassador. As Nigeria's football ambassador, a largely ceremonial role, Amokachi will assist the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to scout for talent, be part of processes to revive the country's football development, as well as mentor young sportsmen and women. And the league management company LMC says it is excited that the Nigeria Professional Football League and the national age grade teams have benefited immensely from the NPFL coaching seminar. Now, the LMC chairman Shehu Diko explained that it is an opportunity for Nigeria coaches to keep up with the latest coaching trends. The seminar, which is in its 4th edition, is being facilitated by technical instructors Diego Ramos and Enrique Felipe from the Spanish elite league, the La Liga. The African Union of Karate Federations has confirmed that 19th edition of the Senior Championships will hold from February the 5th to the 10th in Morocco. According to UFAC, the championships will serve as qualifiers for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games in July. And that's Sport News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun.
Thanks a lot, Ayotunde. And the main news again. Operatives of the Nigeria Customs Service today intercepted over $8 million at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The Customs Service also arrested an airport member of staff over the incident. Also today, Nigeria signed the tripartite agreement for the repatriation of over $318 million or 115.9 billion naira. Funds to be used on the Lagos-Ibadan and Abuja-Kano expressways, as well as the second Niger Bridge projects. And the World Health Organization today said the coronavirus outbreak does not yet constitute a pandemic, as the death toll from the disease rose to over 400. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Nat'l. Do have a good night.